I'm not, and I don't want to be, the president of the world. I'm the president of the United States. And from now on, it's going to be America first.
President Trump campaigned on that America First philosophy. Could Tuesday's chemical weapons attack in Syria put that to the test? In a news conference yesterday with Jordan's King Abdullah, the president said the attack changed the way he views Syria and Bashar al-Assad. And North Korea's latest saber-rattling is on the agenda today in his meeting with the Chinese president, among many other things. John Moody is the executive vice president and executive editor of Fox News and joins us to talk about this live. Good to see you today.
Hey, Shannon.
Okay, so as we talked about, there is so much on the agenda with China. I mean, North Korea probably at the top of the list, but there's a whole lot more.
Yeah, I think what Donald Trump is experiencing right now is the difference between being a candidate and being president. When you're president, you have to be able to handle multiple alarming situations simultaneously and efficiently. And his campaign rhetoric indicated that he would just take wild positions on anything when he felt like it. I think he's now seeing reality set in.
And finding America and keeping it first, finding its interests, is very complex when you look at the Syrian situation, China, North Korea. I mean, there are tentacles that feed with Russia, Iraq, so many other things that you can't just make blanket statements. Right.
He's going to send Secretary of State Tillerson to Russia, I think, over the weekend. I'm sure there'll be some back-channel discussions about what to do about Syria. Russia, obviously, is the patron of Syria. Tillerson doesn't talk for public consumption. He'll do a lot of backrooming, and I bet you he comes back with some assurance from Russia that it's not going to have another repetition of this horrible chemical bombing. With China, China is a serious contender. They're not a friend. They're a competitor of ours, and Trump is going to have to find some common thread with President Xi when he meets him at Mar-a-Lago.
How well do you think that conversation will go? Because we're dependent on China putting pressure on North Korea to tamp down that situation before it gets to, as Tillerson has suggested, all options are on the table now.
All options are on the table, but within reason. China is a serious player. They are the only economic support that North Korea has. If they were to turn off the spigot to North Korea's economy would collapse, and the regime would be out very quickly.
So we need their help there, but we also need their help on another important front. You talked about the fact that they essentially are the supplier to 100% of the world on this rare earth mineral situation. Yes. I mean, things that we need for military equipment, smartphones, we have to get it from China.
Right. Rare earths are 17 metals and elements that are necessary to make what are called permanent magnets. And permanent magnets have become a crucial part of fighter jets for our military, catapults that launch planes off of aircraft carriers, rocket-guided missiles, and also consumer goods like smartphones and GPS systems. So China controls the market. We used to be the biggest provider of rare earths in the world. We gave it away to China late in the last century.
How do we turn that around?
Well, President Trump did talk about making America great again and bringing jobs back. We have rare earths in the United States. If he were to reinvigorate the U.S. mining industry, he could also get rare earth production moving again. We wouldn't need China, and our hand would improve immeasurably.
But until we get to that point, they're going to have these conversations over the next couple of days. What do you think the mood will be like between these two world leaders?
Somber. Somber. I think President Xi is an experienced negotiator. I think he knows that he has the upper hand right now, even against the great United States. And I think that he will be sober and careful in what he says, and let's hope that Mr. Trump does the same.
All right, John Moody, always good to see you. There's more about this at foxnews.com/opinion. People can read in. Thank you very much for your expertise.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.